All right. So let's talk about Python variables. So you can think of a variable as a container that carries some type of value. So the name of the container will be the variable name, and the item we put in the container will be the value of the variable. And in Python, creating a variable is very easy. You can simply create a variable by using the equal sign, like this. So here, the variable name is first name, and the value that I'm assigning to the variable is Joseph. And we're just using the equal sign to give this variable the value Joseph. Let's create another variable. We'll call this one last name, and we will give it the value Hugh. So suppose we want to display the value of a variable, or we want to check the value of a variable, we can use our print statement. And inside our print statement, we will put the name of the variable in there. In this case, we want to check the value of first name. Now, if I run my code, I can see that the value that was stored inside the first name variable is Joseph. Now let's do the same for last name. So now I'm displaying both the first name and the last name. But now suppose we want to change the first name. Instead of Joseph, we want to use a nickname like Joe. So we can always change the value of a variable. That is why it's called variable. The value can vary. So to change the value of a variable, we just have to simply reassign it. Just like that. So now the first name is no longer Joseph, it's now Joe. So let's display the new value of first name. So as you can see here, in our last print statement, the value of first name is now Joe. You can name your variable whatever you want. It can be either X or Y or age or my color. You can give your variable any name that you feel that is suitable. But in Python, there are a few rules that you have to keep in mind when you're naming your variables. So first of all, your variable can only contain alphanumeric characters, which is basically any letter of the alphabet, or it can contain numbers. And the only symbol or special character that your variable can contain is the underscore. This means that your variable can't contain a dot or some type of special character. So another thing to keep in mind is that you can't start your variable with a number. So something like this is invalid, or something like this is not valid. Also, keep in mind that your variables are case sensitive, meaning that age with a capital A is not the same as all lowercase letters or all uppercase letters. All of these three names are considered different names. Just to give you an example, here I've created the variable first name, all lowercase, but suppose now I want to display first name, but instead of all lowercase, I use a capital N. Since I don't have any variable with this name, if I try to run my code, as you can see, I get an error. So one last thing to remember is that your variables cannot be a keyword. For example, print right here, this is a keyword. And when Python sees this, it assumes that you want to display something. So we can't use print as a variable name. So to keep things simple, we're going to use a snake casing naming convention. What I mean by snake casing is when we are naming our variables, we're going to make everything lowercase, just like this. And if we want to make some space or separation between the words, we can just use underscore, because space characters are not allowed in variable names. So anywhere we want to create space, we'll just use underscore. Here's another example. So this is what we call the snake casing naming convention. But just in case you're curious, there is another popular naming convention called camel case. And it looks like this. So here, instead of using underscore, we're just making the first letter of the next word capital, just like this. So if you look at most programs, you'll notice that most programmers tend to choose either snake casing or a camel case when naming their variables. So it's entirely up to you how you want to name your variables. But to keep things simple, I'm just going to use the snake case convention when I'm naming my variables.